Hello everyone, welcome you all to this new video. So this is the final video of module 3. Previously we have discussed 5 videos from this module where we have covered with the basics of linear and non-linear op-amps. So some of the different kinds of op-amp circuits under both linear as well as non-linear categories. Then we have gone through the oscillators. In that first we have seen the frequency of oscillations, how the oscillations are done. Then we have seen with the different kinds of oscillators. Okay, totally there are 5 kinds of oscillators mentioned in this syllabus, starting from Wien bridge oscillator. In that Wien bridge oscillator, we have seen the basic comparison of lead lag circuit and how that is adapted in the Wien bridge oscillator based on the frequency of oscillations. Then we have seen the difference between Colpitts and Hartley oscillator, that is at the output end, how the inductors and capacitors would be making a difference in the lead lag compensator of the Wien bridge and of the Colpitts and Hartley configuration, along with their feedback fraction as well as the frequency of oscillations expressions. Okay, then after that we have seen with the RC phase shift oscillator and the crystal oscillators along with the circuit diagram. So these many things we have discussed in previously in these 5 videos. Now this is one last video where we are going to be discussing with the monostable and astable operations of the 555 timer. Okay, so the 555 timer configuration is not mentioned in your syllabus. Okay, initially I had taught to explain that as well. That is the basic pin diagram of a 555 timer and all, but that concept is not there in the syllabus. So that's why in the syllabus they have mentioned it that we need to be explaining the monostable and astable operations of the 555 timer. So that we are going to be covering in this video. Okay, so firstly let us start with the basics of 555 timer. The NE 555, also LM 555, CA 555, MC1455 is a widely used IC timer. Okay, so these are the alternate names given through this 555 timer. Okay, initial names which is given, and these are the other initial names which are called. Okay, initially it is called as a NE 555 timer. A circuit that can run in either two modes. So we are having two modes of operation in this. One is called as monostable operation. Monostable means, as the word itself suggests, that is mono. So it is a one stable state. Okay, it is a single stable state. And another one is astable operation. Astable means there is no stable states. Okay, the complete circuit is unstable at all the pins. Okay, so if you compare in these two modes, in the monostable mode, it can produce accurate time delays for from microseconds to hours. Okay, so accuracy is developed in the monostable mode because we are using a single stable state which would be handling all the frequencies simultaneously, and the time delay also would be accurate, which would be in the range of from microseconds up to hours. Okay, so that is the time limit for this monostable mode. Whereas in the astable mode, it can produce rectangular waves with variable duty cycle. Okay, here time is not accurate. It could be producing rectangular waves, which means that it is shifting with respect to high and low parameter signals with respect to change in phase, and it is producing the variable duty cycle. Since it is a rectangular wave, so duty cycle also would be varying from high to low and low to high signals. Okay, so these are the basic configuration and the basic introduction of a 555 timer along with its mode. Okay, now let us discuss with the two operations in this video. One is called as the monostable operation. Okay, so let us see that now. So this figure 23.33, that is this below figure, shows the 555 timer connected for a monostable operation. Okay, the circuit has an external resistor R. So you see here, this is that complete monostable operation part where everything is done. So you see these dotted lines in square, this indicates a 555 timer. Okay, so these are the internal connections made through this monostable operation of a 555 timer, where each pin has its own characteristics. Okay, totally 555 timer consists of 8 pins, right? So you see here pin 8 of this timer is given to the supply. So you see here pin 8 of this timer is given to the supply. Pin 7 means discharge pin. Pin 6 is the threshold pin. Then here we are having pin 1, that is ground pin. Pin 2 is the trigger pin. Then pin 3 is the output pin, and rest of the pins are given for the VCC connections. Okay, so these many are the main pins which is required for the working of this 555 timer. Okay, so with respect to that, we are first initially they have given the external resistor R and capacitor C. So where is that external resistor here? This is the external resistor which is used here. Okay, so you see here external resistor R and external capacitor C, which is given through the supply pin and the threshold pin externally towards a PNP transistor. Okay, so here we are using a PNP transistor under this 555 timer. Why we are using PNP transistor? Because that is directly given to the SR flip flop, because we are using one single SR flip flop because it is a monostable operation, and based on the amplifier analysis of UTP and LTP, that output would be given to that SR flip flop. Based on that, the input would be selected along with its complements to produce a rectangular wave. Okay, yeah. The circuit has the external resistor R and a capacitor C as shown in the figure. The voltage across the capacitor is used for the threshold voltage to pin 6. Okay, the voltage across the capacitor, so this is the threshold voltage, and this voltage across the capacitor, that is this point. Okay, so this is used under a that voltage is corresponding to the threshold voltage given through the pin 6 of the 555 timer. So when the trigger arrives at pin 2, the circuit produces a rectangular output pulse from pin 3. Okay. So when the trigger means that trigger point is arriving at pin 2, that is the at one amplifier the trigger point arrives. Okay. So the it when it arrives, the circuit produces a rectangular output pulse at pin 3. Okay. So this is the rectangular pulse which I was talking about. So they are mentioned here when the trigger arrives, only when the trigger arrives, because when the trigger arrives, any one of the amplifier would be working, either this one or this one. Based on that, one input would be selected, and for that output is produced here in form of a in the pin 3 as a rectangular wave. Okay, so if the output is not produced, that is when the trigger is not arrived, then what happens? Then what happens is this output is not we won't be getting the output. It would be going to the q pin here, and it would be passing through the transistor. Then again it would be doing the discharging part. Again it is given through the threshold, and again the trigger point arrives. Then it is given through the SR flip flop, and the output is generated as a rectangular wave. Okay, so this is the complete procedure happening in the single state monostable stage operation of a 555 timer. Okay, so here is the theory of operation. Initially, the Q output of the SR flip flop is high. Okay, so initial value for this Q is equal to 1. Okay, this saturates the transistor and clamps the capacitor voltage at ground. Okay, it would be saturating the transistor first, then clamps the capacitor voltage, that is this capacitor voltage would be to grounded. Okay, because it would be this transistor would be at on state, so that's why the discharging and charging would be taking place simultaneously. So this threshold point is not arriving at this point, so this would be directly given to ground. Okay, so the circuit will remain in the state until the trigger arrives. So it would be waiting for the next trigger to arrive at pin 2. Based on that, the operation takes place and output is provided. Okay, so because of the voltage divider, the trip points at the trip points are the same as previously discussed. That is, UTP is the upper trigger point, that is 2 VCC by 3, and LTP is equal to VCC by 3. Okay, so these are the values before threshold occurs. Okay, yeah. But when the trigger input falls slightly less than VCC by 3, the lower comparator resets the flip flop. Okay, so the lower comparator would be resetting the flip flop since Q has changed to low, that is the Q signal now. Initially it was high, right? Initially it was equal to 1. Now since the trigger arrives, it would be equal to 0. Okay, so it means that the value of VCC by 3 is further reduced because of the trigger. Then uh, the transistor goes to the cutoff state. Okay, it won't be in the saturated state now. It would be going towards the cutoff state, and which allows the capacitor to charge. So see, initially when it was in the saturated state, this capacitor was grounded, right? Now because this is in the cutoff state, it won't be passing any current through it, and this would be slowly charging now, and it would be producing the threshold. Then the trigger point would be activated at the upper comparator, producing a rectangular pulse. Okay, at this time Q has changed to high. The capacitor now charges exponentially as shown in the figure. Then when the capacitor voltage is slightly greater than, it would be reaching somehow the nearer to 2 VCC by 3. The, as I've told you, the upper comparator sets the flip flop. The this Q would be again high. Then on the transistor, when it discharges the capacitor almost instantly, at the same instant Q bar would be returning to low. So if this is high, since our complement of this is 0, so that's why it would be low, producing the next pulse, that is a rectangular pulse of high signal and low signal simultaneously. So this is the complete operation. Okay, so here the formula for pulse width is given by 1.1 into RC for a monostable operation. Please note it down. And this is the basic timer circuit based on monostable operation with the help of the external R and C connection. Okay, so you see here 7 and 6, that is the trigger pulse and threshold pulse are interconnected here. 4 and 8 pin number 8 and 4 are given here. One is the trigger pin, okay, the one sorry, 2 is the trigger pin, this is the ground pin, and from 5 the coupling capacitor or the bypass capacitor used, that is a 0.01 microfarad. And this is the complete setup of a monostable timer circuit with the formulas here, that is UTP is 2 VCC by 3, LTP is VCC by 3, and W is the uh, pulse width. Okay, pulse width is monostable pulse width, that is 1.1 RC. So this is the complete operation of a monostable operation. Now let us get to the next operation, that is astable. Okay, but it is just similar to monostable whatever we have discussed, but there would be under no state condition. Okay, what happens here? Let us see. So this below figure, that is this figure shows the astable operation. Here, if you compare with the monostable operation, it would be using a transistor, SR flip flop, two comparator circuits. But here externally there are two resistors. You could be seeing two resistors. One is R1, R2, and one capacitor C. Okay, so that is one. That's only one change here. Rest all the things remains the same. Discharge pin, threshold pin, trigger pin, ground pin, output pin, and supply pin. Everything remains the same of this triple five time. Okay, what is the change here? I'll tell you here. So you see here shows the triple five timer connected for a astable operation. The trip points are the same as for the monostable operation, as I've told you. UTP is equal to 2 VCC by 3, LTP is equal to VCC by 3. So when Q is low, the transistor is cut off state, the capacitor is in charging state through a total resistance. Here, the total resistance here, since two resistances are there, so total resistance would be R is equal to R1 plus R2, okay, because they are connected in series. So because of this total resistance, the charging time constant would be R1 plus R2 into C, as the capacitor charges the threshold voltage in pin 6. So eventually the threshold voltage exceeds to plus 2 VCC by 3, so that we have seen in the monostable also. The same thing is repeated here. Then the upper comparator would be setting the flip flop. Setting the flip flop means the upper comparator setting the flip flop means some threshold is arrived from pin 6. Based on that, this upper comparator output would be giving would be going towards the set pin here, S pin. So it means that this flip flop is in the set state, producing the output of Q is equal to 1, the Q bar is equal to 0. So that we will be getting our first pulse 0, right? So 0 is obtained now. Now we required one more second pulse, that is 1, right? In order to produce the next pulse, we required 1. For that, what you need to be doing, again the same operation you need to be following, that is when Q is high, transistor saturates to pin 7, the capacitor now discharge. After the pulse is generated, capacitor would be discharging it, so it would be producing slightly less than VCC by 3. Then it would be resetting the flip flop from the lower comparator. That is, now upper comparator is done. Now lower comparator would be resetting the flip flop, that is it, the reset pin. Now this Q would be equal to 0 and this Q bar would be equal to 1, generating a 1 pulse, and then like 0 1 0 1 complete rectangular pulse with the pulse width would be generated. Okay, now for this, now for an astable operation, we are having two different pulses because of the resistors. Okay, so you see here, these are the two different pulses generated, whereas for the monostable operation, we were having only one single rectangular pulse. But here there are possibilities of two pulses getting generated. Okay, one is this pulse here. Okay, this is the medium rare pulse where we won't be getting the fixed, we won't be getting the fixed amplitude outputs. Okay, not high low signals. Initially it would be changing based on the resistors used here. Okay, because in the astable operation there is no state, so that's why the resistors would be coming into the picture, which would be having some current flowing through it, which would be providing the astable output. Okay, so this is not in the stable state, and this is in the stable state when we are having the unused part of the resistors. Okay, based on that, two out signals are generated here. The period of the output signal is given by 0.693 R1 plus 2 R2 into C. This is the reciprocal, that is the frequency. We know that frequency is equal to 1 divided by time, so you would be getting 1.44 divided by R1 plus 2 R2 into C. Okay, for an astable operation, astable multi-vibrator circuit, you see here R1 R2 is used, capacitor is used, and pin number 6 and 2 are getting interconnected here. Pin number 4 and 8 7, this is the threshold pin, and here this is the ground pin, and from input 5 pin number 5 the bypass capacitor is used, and from pin number 3 output is generated of this astable operation. So here the pulse width is 0.693 R1 plus R2 into C here. Then time period is 0.693 R1 plus 2 R2 into C. Frequency is reciprocal of this, and the duty cycle is R1 plus R2 divided by R1 plus 2R2. Okay, so it would be the duty cycle. So these many are the operation parameters under a stable multi vibration circuit. Okay, so these two operations are very important, guys. Please note it down. So yeah, that's all for this module, guys. This was it for module 3 about 555 timers. I hope you understood very well. So please watch this video till the end and stay tuned for the upcoming modules. Okay, so that's all, guys. Thank you.